This month, Fitbit has released their new generation of fitness trackers and smartwatches, including the Inspire 3, Versa 4, and what we will be reviewing in this video, the Fitbit Sense 2. Now, I've already put out a full review of the Inspire 3 last week, and alongside this review, I will be posting a review of the Versa 4 very soon, but here we have the Sense 2, and there's a lot to love about this upgrade. For one, there is a much better, easier to use side button, a more simplified user interface, it's 27% lighter, has a new continuous electrodermal activity sensor for all-day stress response tracking. There are now over twice the amount of workout activity options with more than 40 to choose from, improved Bluetooth and sync range, and a few features which aren't quite here yet but are coming soon, like the addition of the Google Wallet and Google Maps to be able to have an interactive view and turn-by-turn directions directly on the watch. And this is all in addition to the other functions being brought forward, like HRV sleep, skin temperature, and blood oxygen tracking, a built-in GPS, Alexa integration, third-party app support, including Spotify, which allows you to listen, control, and download playlists directly onto the watch itself, and of course, the huge and growing library of watch faces to choose from for its always-on display. Now, the Sense 2 is Fitbit's most feature-packed smartwatch yet, but at a cost of just 5 cents short of $300, does it do enough to make it a well-valued fitness and health-focused smartwatch? Let's find out. For those of you new to the channel, this is Colin Jenkins with Connect the Watts, so if you want to stay up to date with the latest in connected fitness, make sure to subscribe. Okay, so to give you the best sense of the Sense 2, I'm going to break this review down into 12 things you should know, each focusing on a different aspect ranging from its design to its features and its accuracy. So first up, let's talk about the new button. On the original Sense, there was a button that most people felt was placed too low and was sort of a pain to get to. So this time around, the button has been raised up and is now in a very normal, easy to use spot. And this button has a variety of functions. A single tap will turn on the screen, another tap will take you to a list of settings, a double tap will take you to a menu with your favorite apps, and if you hold the button, that will turn on the Alexa integration, and this can be further customized as well if you'd rather it do something else, like take you to the alarms or the workout screen or to access Fitbit Pay. Also new here is this sort of transparent bezel or edge to the Sense 2, and while I don't hate it or anything, I don't really prefer it. It's not there on the original Sense, and it's not even there on the new Versa 4, which has essentially the same screen otherwise. But besides that little addition, the AMOLED touchscreen looks really great, is very bright, especially on the max brightness setting, which does help when you take it outdoors. And the whole watch is just extremely light, weighing just 24 grams, which is 27% lighter than the original Sense and about half of the weight of a regular sized Apple Watch. The included band here is also very comfortable, comes with both small and large sizes, and there are several colors for you to choose from. And of course, plenty of additional watch bands to get if you want to customize it further. Next up, we have a more simplified user interface. And in my opinion, having a simple to use interface is one of the big selling points for all Fitbits in general. And so it's nice to see them even continue to refine that here. It's very simple. Swipe down to adjust your settings, swipe up to see notifications, swipe to the left or right to cycle through your various apps and widgets, like being able to see the weather, starting your workout, your heart rate over the past few hours, and various other data and health metrics. All of these widgets, including the order that they show up, can also be edited on the Fitbit app, including the ability to change watch faces, which there are a huge amount to choose from, and a lot of them look pretty great, and the majority of them come with their own style for the always-on display, should you want to have that on. Moving on to workout tracking, Fitbit has added a lot more exercise options, in fact over twice as many as before, with over 41 by my count, including rowing, CrossFit, and skiing, just to name a few. The Sense 2 has its own integrated GPS as well, so no need to run with the phone if you don't want to, and it does a pretty nice job of breaking down your workout and the post-workout summary. Now, this isn't an advanced sports or running watch, so while you can see your pace and heart rate and distance, don't expect it to do as much as a Garmin, for example, but it's very simple and easy, which again is sort of the point of having a Fitbit in the first place. Now, while you work out, the Fitbit Sense 2 will of course track your heart rate and your GPS coordinates should you be be running or biking or doing any other sort of outside activity. And after a decent amount of testing, I'd have to say I'm actually pretty impressed with the GPS accuracy. It's not perfect, but it holds its own pretty well, especially when compared to the two other much more expensive watches I'd been testing alongside it, the Apple Watch Ultra and the Garmin Enduro 2, which cost well over 3 times the Sense 2. Now, it does fall off a bit more than those other two, but overall I am very impressed. Now, the heart rate accuracy I am less impressed with. It does a good job when you're not working out or just tracking your day-to-day or resting heart rate, but during exercise it does struggle a bit. In fact, I found it to be pretty laggy, often taking several minutes and sometimes longer to catch up to where my heart rate actually was, which is okay for more consistent endurance work, but can be a bit unreliable for more intense or interval training. Speaking of sensors, the Fitbit Sense 2's new body response sensor measures continuous electrodermal activity for all-day body response tracking. So when a body response is detected, like if you get really stressed or angry or really excited, later you'll be prompted to log how you were feeling to help better understand and record what was going on in that given moment. And here it'll give you a stress management score based on your body's responsiveness over the past several days, as well as what they call exertion balance, which is how well you're balancing exercise against short-term wear and tear, as well as how stress is affecting your sleep. Now, there's a lot to unpack here, and I'm curious to try and figure out exactly how these numbers are created, but it seems interesting and potentially very useful as another alternative to, say, just looking at your HRV or heart rate variability data, which we'll talk more about later on under health tracking. The Sense 2 also allows you to manually log how you are feeling at any time, do a full EDA scan, or follow along to a guided breathing exercise, or take one of their various meditation exercises that are included on the app. Next up, we have an improved Bluetooth and sync range. With Bluetooth 5.0, the connection here is much stronger for a wider distance to maintain a decent connection to your phone. And as an example of that, the sync range has been increased from 9 feet to 30 feet. It's a small improvement, but can be especially useful if you tend to leave your phone around the house and rely on your Fitbit to get notifications and to even make calls. Now, I wasn't able to test the call functionality as it hasn't rolled out to the Sense 2 as of the time that I wrote this review, but it should be out relatively shortly. And if you have an Android, you will also be able to text and do voice to text with the Fitbit Sense 2 as well. Speaking of things that I haven't been able to test yet are the upcoming Google Wallet and Google Map features. There's not a set release date to these except coming soon, which I would take as sometime within the next few months, especially as we are very near the release of the Pixel Watch, which will likely be including those features. And currently there is the Fitbit Pay app that you can use as a wallet while you wait. In terms of health metrics, the Fitbit Sense 2 has a pretty comprehensive list of what it tracks while you're asleep, from your breathing rate, HRV or heart rate variability, skin temperature, oxygen saturation, and resting heart rate alongside your overall sleep. And while these numbers can take a while to analyze for accuracy, so far I've been pretty impressed as these numbers seem to be lining up real well. And Fitbit uses these health metrics to give you what they call a readiness score to help you better determine how prepared you are for more training or exertion. And so far I like this a lot. But I do have to note that many features like the daily readiness score is part of the Fitbit Premium membership, which while you do get a free 6-month with the purchase of a Fitbit Sense 2, it will cost around $10 per month thereafter should you want to continue. Moving on, we have the Alexa integration, which can be used for anything like asking questions or even controlling the lights in your house or anything else that you have set up through the Alexa app. What's the best Fitbit?
A top-rated choice for Fitbit on Amazon is Fitbit Charge 5 Advanced Fitness and Health Tracker with built-in GPS.
Now, one of the reasons the Fitbit Sense 2 is more like a full smartwatch than its fitness trackers is the third-party support, which features hundreds of different apps and widgets that you can download to expand the capabilities of the Sense 2, including likely the most popular addition, the Spotify app, which allows you to not only control and play your music to your headphones, but you can also download music directly onto the Sense 2 itself, so you can listen to a playlist or a podcast while you're on a run without the need to take your phone with you. Unfortunately, the third-party support wasn't available in early access testing, so I haven't been able to test this out on the Sense 2 yet, but since it is available on the original Sense, I think it's a pretty safe bet that it will work equally well here. And finally, we have the battery life, which Fitbit says lasts around 6 days, and with the always on display on, that drops down to around 2 to 3 days. And since I always like having that always on display, and I often wore the Fitbit for outdoor workouts at max brightness, which also meant GPS usage, I found it generally lasts me 2 days, which is still a pretty decent amount for a smartwatch like this. And I think for most people, especially if you don't care for the always on display, you'll likely get much closer to the full 6 days between battery charges. And the battery does charge fairly quickly, with it taking just around 12 minutes or so to get a full day's worth of battery, again assuming that you don't have that always on display on. So overall, the Fitbit Sense 2 I think is a nice mix of having a smartwatch and fitness tracker. And I think it's really best for somebody who values simplicity above all else, but wants a few more features than what's available on Fitbit's more basic trackers like the Inspire 3 and Charge 5. And at $300, I think it's a pretty decent value, though sort of with Fitbit, you kind of get the most value out of their lower priced options, which isn't so much of a fault for the Sense 2, but more of a compliment to the breadth of functionality that their lower priced fitness trackers have. Now, if you want to see how the Fitbit Sense 2 compares to the Fitbit Versa 4, make sure to check out this video, which I'll post when it's ready. Again, this is Colin with Connect the Watts. Appreciate you being here, and I'll see you next time.